For millennia, human survival was tethered to what we could burn. Wood, coal, oil, the artifacts of a world that lived and died before us. But in 1932, the tether snapped. We didn't find a new fuel, we found a new physics. By striking a single atom with a low neutron, we realized we could unlock the very binding force of the universe. And by 1942, we could harness it. It was limitless power, a utopian promise of abundance that could cook our food, heat our homes, and power a civilization without choking the atmosphere. It was a miracle of density where a single pellet could hold the energy of a ton of coal. But miracles come with shadows. Massive meltdowns and radioactive waste have resulted in us wrunging from the energy we created. This energy is nuclear. After Hiroshima, the world feared the atom. But in 1953, Eisenhower stood before the United Nations and offered a different vision: atoms for peace. The same force that leveled cities could now light them. America began building. France began building. Nuclear plants rose across Europe, Japan, and the rest of the globe. Modern cathedrals, monuments to a civilization that had finally solved energy. France committed harder than anyone. Today, over 70% of its electricity flows from the atom. Wong Nation, proof the promise was real. Then came the oil crisis. Gas lines stretched for miles, prices doubled overnight, and suddenly nuclear didn't just make sense, it was the obvious answer. Here was an energy that required no oil, no foreign pipeline, no hostile negotiation. A single fuel pellet, no larger than your fingertip, held the energy of nearly a ton of coal. The math was miraculous. The future seemed inevitable. April 26, 1986, Chernobyl. In the pre-dawn hours, reactor 4 didn't just fail, it exploded. Radioactive material scattered invisibly across a continent. 350,000 people displaced. An entire city frozen mid-breakfast, mid-sentence, mid-life. The image was seared into our collective memory. 3 Mile Island, Fukushima. Each disaster was different in cause, identical in effect. A world that decided nuclear was too dangerous to trust. But here's the number the headlines never showed you. Deaths per unit of electricity produced. Coal kills 25 people, oil 18. Nuclear sits between solar and wind. You would need 25 years of powering an entire city of 150,000 people before a single person dies from nuclear energy. We fear it the way we fear plane crashes, spectacularly, while the quiet carnage of coal continues, invisible, like a car crash. And then the waste, radioactive for hundreds of thousands of years, we said. We have nowhere to put it. We called it the unanswerable problem. Except, and this is the part that changes everything, a reactor from 1962 already had the answer. In 1977, President Carter did something almost no one remembers. He banned nuclear recycling. Not because the technology didn't work. It did. Not because it was unsafe. It wasn't. He banned it because one byproduct of their recycling process, plutonium, could theoretically be turned into a weapon. A political problem solved with a technological ban. Reagan lifted the ban in 1981, but the damage was done. Companies had already invested in reactors that couldn't recycle, built their business models around cheap, abundant uranium. Why recycle fuel when fresh uranium costs less? And nuclear plants themselves became financial mountains, billions in construction costs, decade-long timelines. Natural gas was faster, cheaper, and easier. So plants closed, not because they failed, because they were outbid. The result is a paradox that should keep us up at night. The most energy-dense power source humanity has ever discovered, economically outmaneuvered by the very fossil fuels it was built to replace. Here is what we know now. The nuclear waste sitting in dry storage across the United States contains enough energy to power the entire country for 150 years. Every last light, every car, every city. Not waste, a stockpile, a clean energy resource we are paying billions to guard instead of billions to use. And the new reactors don't look like Chernobyl. Small modular reactors, some no larger than a shipping container, are built in factories deployed remotely and engineered to fail safely by design. Companies are building reactors that run on recycled nuclear waste, closing the fuel cycle Carter interrupted, turning the problem into a solution. Climate change is the defining physics of our era, and nuclear, with its extraordinary density, its proven safety record, its ability to run without sun, without wind, without pause, is nearly perfect. Nearly. The question was never really about the science. It was always about the choice. And that choice, still, is ours to make. This is independent reporting for a better planet. No corporate agendas, just the facts. If you value climate news that is free and accessible to everyone, subscribe to Studio Amp. It's totally free and takes a second for you, but it keeps us making content that matters. Join the mission at climatenewsmedia.com. Thanks for watching.